As we predicted last night, President Trump wants to change the immigration debate to a war on sanctuary cities from a war about the streets in sanctuary cities. Let me show you how this works. Remember, Trump promised de-escalation after a call with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Shortly afterward, Frey posted, "I made it clear," meaning to Trump, "that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws." That ended any talk of de-escalation, at least in terms of the fight with Frey. Within hours, Attorney General Pam Bondi was in Minneapolis announcing the arrest of 16 Minnesota rioters, vowing nothing will stop President Trump and the Department of Justice from enforcing the law. With us now, former Republican governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, Axios White House correspondent Marc Caputo. Marc, I don't think, and I'm guessing you don't either, that the Jacob Frey sort of blank you to Donald Trump and Pam Bondi arriving shortly thereafter was a coincidence.
No, I mean, to your point, Trump does want to de-escalate, at least in tone. They are signaling in policy. The reality is the execution of the immigration surge in Minneapolis has been a shambles. It's been shambolic. It's been a disaster. So we had to change things up.
Right. I guess that part of changing things up. So now moving towards, I guess, fighting it legally rather than fighting it on the streets. What does that look like? What does Pam Bondi showing up signal? And there's been talk of Jacob Frey and Tim Walz facing investigations. Is that something that the White House wants? Is that a fight that they welcome?
Yeah, I can't really speculate. I'll admit I have a difficult time understanding specifically what they're after. Initially, the subpoenas against the governor and against the mayor were supposed to be for interfering with the police investigation or with federal law enforcement. So we'll have to see how that goes out. It does look a lot like a sort of classic negotiation technique of we're going to bring maximum force against you, and then we're going to force you to sort of negotiate. The problem Trump has had, the administration has had, is that they've been on their back foot. When you have 3 civilians shot in 3 weeks, 2 of them fatally, it just diminishes, charitably speaking, your negotiating posture. What the administration does want to do, however, is shift the focus from that disastrous law enforcement execution, and I didn't mean to use execution in the way some people might interpret it, into a discussion about removing criminal aliens from the streets, in their phrase, not mine, and stopping the rampant fraud that has happened in Minnesota specifically, or heavily in the Somalian community. They've been unable to talk about that because they've been having these roving bands of masked agents going around and getting in these violent confrontations with people, and in some cases killing them.
The other thing they want to do is shift the conversation specifically out of Minneapolis just to sanctuary cities in general, because they think that is something that works. Lindsey Graham also appears to have gotten the talking points memo. Take a listen.
To my colleagues who believe that you can convince Donald Trump that Stephen Miller is a liability for him, good luck with that. I want everybody to know on the Republican side that Stephen Miller is not the problem. Sanctuary cities is the problem.
Chris, does returning the debate to sanctuary cities, or at least attempting to, does that win back the independence lost by the videos that we saw of the shooting of the 2 anti-ICE resistors, whatever you want to call them?
It could. It could. You know, sanctuary cities does not help Democrats at all because it implies lawlessness. It implies chaos in the cities. So that's I won't call it a winning argument for Republicans, but it's definitely a loser for Democrats. And again, it's January. If we're talking about the political prospects of this and what it means for November, we're still a long ways out. And I do think the administration is taking the right steps in terms of saying, hey, Trump's going to get on the phone. They've removed the commander-in-chief at the ground. They brought Tom Homan in. They're taking what's happening in Minneapolis very, very seriously. They know it's chaotic. They know it's not helping them. And obviously, they want to quash that. To the Pam Bondi question of, you know, indictments and all that, that would just be a terrible wrench in the whole mix, I think. You've opened up communication with the governor and the mayor. They might not still like what you're doing, but at least you guys are talking. And yeah, and by the way, the mayor saying we're not going to enforce federal law. Well, the mayor would never enforce federal law. The state doesn't enforce federal law. The key is don't get in the way of federal law, right? I was governor. We couldn't enforce federal law even if we wanted to. So, there's a balance there.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.